Our science has many theories about the origin of the universe. The Big Bang and cosmic inflation are the most widely accepted theories. Scientists want to know what came before inflation, or what powered it, and what is the ultimate fate of the universe. Let's start at the beginning of creation, as far back as we can go. The first known thing in creation is infinity. The infinity is creation. Then infinity became aware. This aware or intelligent infinity is the creator. The first distortion or change of infinity is free will of awareness. Due to freedom of will of awareness, the intelligent infinity discerned a concept. This concept was finity. Thus, the one intelligent infinity invested itself in the exploration of manyness. In this will of freedom, it is recognized that the creator will know itself. Thus, awareness led to the focus of infinity into infinite energy. This focus is the creative principle and known to us as logos or love. Love is the second distortion of infinity. The next step is an infinite reaction to the creative principle following the freedom of will. Thus, many dimensions, infinite in number, are possible. The focus or love creates light, that which is the third distortion of infinity. Thus, the energy moves from the intelligent infinity, first due to the outpouring of randomized creative force. Then, this creates patterns, which in holographic style appear as the entire creation, no matter which direction or energy is explored. These patterns of energy then begin to regularize their own, shall we say, local rhythms and fields of energy, thus creating dimensions and universes. As each exploration began, the energies moved in increasingly intelligent patterns, until the individualization of various energies emanating from the creative principle found their focus and became co-creators. Thus, the so-called physical matter began. The concept of light is instrumental in grasping the birth of the physical universes, as this vibrational distortion of infinity is the building block of matter, the light being intelligent and full of energy, thus being the first distortion of intelligent infinity, which was called by the creative principle. This light created by love was made to have in its occurrences of being certain characteristics. Among these characteristics was the infinite whole, which was paradoxically described by the straight line, as we would call it. This paradox is responsible for the shape of the various physical illusion entities we call solar systems, galaxies, and planets, all revolving and tending towards the lenticular. Using intelligent infinity, each portion created an universe and allowing the rhythms of free choice to flow, playing with the infinite spectrum of possibilities. Each individualized portion channeled the light of love into what we might call intelligent energy, thus creating the so-called natural laws of any particular universe. In turn, each universe individualized to a focus becoming co-creator and allowing further diversity individualizing galaxies, created energy patterns which then focused in multitudinous focuses of further conscious awareness of intelligent infinity, thus causing natural laws to appear in the vibrational patterns of what we would call a solar system. Thus, each solar system has its own, shall we say, local coordinate system of illusory natural laws which are unique to itself. It shall be understood that any portion, no matter how small, of any density or illusory pattern contains, as in an holographic picture, the one creator, which is infinity. Thus all begins and ends in mystery. The process by which free will acts upon the potential intelligent infinity to become focused intelligent energy takes place without the space-time of which we are so aware as it is our continuum experience. The experience or existence of constructed space-time comes into being after the individuation process of intelligent infinity has been completed and the physical universe has coalesced, while moving outward to the extent that stars, in their turn, have created timeless chaos coalescing into planets. These vortices of energy spending a large amount of first density in a timeless state. The constructed space-time realization being one of the lessons of this density of beingness. The process by which constructed space-time comes into continuum form is a function of the careful building of an entire plan of vibratory rates, densities, and potentials. When this plan has coalesced in the thought complexes of the creative principle, then the physical manifestations begin to appear. This first manifestation stage being awareness or consciousness of elements. At the point at which this coalescence is at the livingness or beingness point, the point or fountainhead of beginning, space-time then begins to unroll its scroll of livingness. In our first density, there is no method of estimation of the time, before timelessness gave way to the beginnings of our time. The measurement would be vast, and yet this vastness is meaningless. Upon the entry into the constructed space-time, our first density spanned a bridge of space-time and time-space of perhaps 2 billion years. This approximation is exceedingly rough due to the somewhat uneven development which is characteristic of creations which are built upon the foundation stone of free will. In the first density, a planet is in a red ray vibratory field. Thus, the red ray is the foundation for all that is to come. In a planetary environment, all begins in timeless chaos. Energy is undirected and random in its infinity. Slowly, there forms a focus of self-awareness. Thus the logos moves. The intelligent energy comes to form the darkness, according to the co-creator's patterns and vibratory rhythms, so constructing a certain type of experience. This begins with the first density, which is the density of consciousness. Upon the planet, the mineral and water life learns the awareness of beingness from fire and wind. This is the first density. Upon our planetary sphere, the first entities were earth, water, fire, and air. So the active principles of wind and fire blow and burn incandescently, illuminating and forming the formless, for earth and water were unformed, in the timeless state. The water learns to become lakes and rivers, the earth learns to be shaped into lands and islands, thus offering the opportunity for viable life. The spiraling energy, which is the characteristic of upward spiraling light, moves in a straight-line spiral, thus giving spirals an inevitable vector upwards to a more comprehensive beingness with regards to intelligent infinity. This universal light energy is omnipresent in the metaphysical dimension that permeates all physical dimensions. Thus, first density beingness strives towards the second density lessons of a type of awareness which includes growth rather than dissolution or random change. The first or red ray density, though attracted towards growth, is not in the proper vibratory field for those conditions conducive to what we may call the spark of awareness. As a galaxy revolves, the space-time continua of planetary systems spiral from one vibratory field of a density to the next. The different vibrational configurations of space-time are created in the metaphysical dimension by a spectrum of 7 distinct colors, from red through violet, of the universal light energy. You may see a 3-dimensional clock face or spiral of endlessness, which is planned by the logos for this purpose. As the vibratory energies move from red to orange, the vibratory environment is such as to stimulate those chemical substances which lately had been inert to combine in such a fashion that love and light begin the function of growth. The mechanism is one of the attractions of upward spiraling light. There is nothing random about this or any portion of evolution. Thus, the lower forms of plants and animals began to have a beingness within the orange ray energy center. The orange ray concerns the expression of the self in relationship to the self and other self. However, the consciousness of the second density beginning is primitive, and the use of orange rays is limited to the expression of self, which may be seen to be movement and survival. The lower second density mind-body complexes, which begin to move about within and upon its being. This movement is the characteristic of second density, the striving towards light and growth. The base of any metabolism is that which may be found in the chemical substances of the neighborhood of origin. Our scientists have puzzled over the various differences and possible interrelationships of various stages, types, and conditions of life forms. This is not fruitful material, as it is that which is of a moment's choice. There are several different types of bases for life forms, not only upon Earth, but to a much greater extent in the life forms found on planetary spheres of other stars. The chemical vehicle is that which most conveniently houses the consciousness. The functioning of consciousness is the item of interest rather than the chemical makeup of a physical vehicle. A second density mind operates largely upon intuition, which proves through practice to yield results. It makes the choices that improve chances of survival. So the mind of second density files away all information concerning survival and keeps it at the ready in order to enhance each opportunity to respond in a timely manner to that which affects survival. Life forms evolve greater complexity and variety because of the workings of free will applied to evolution. There are many paths that the mind-body complex follows in an attempt to survive, to reproduce, and to seek in its fashion that which is unconsciously felt as the potential for growth. Thus, there are many arenas or paths of development. The yellow ray center concerns the entity in relation to groups. Therefore, upon our planetary sphere, those having the first yellow ray experiences are those of animal and vegetable natures, which find the necessity for reproduction by the bisexual techniques, or who find it necessary to depend in some way upon other selves for survival and growth. The second density strives towards the third density, which is the density of self-consciousness or self-awareness. The striving takes place through the higher second density forms, who are attracted by the upward spiraling light. The self-awareness comes from within, given the catalyst of certain experiences, understanding the upward spiraling of the cell or atom or consciousness. You may see then that there is an inevitable pull toward the eventual, what we may call, realization of self. Those second density mind-body complexes became self-aware mind-body-spirit complexes, awakening the spirit complex, that which existed potentially from the beginning of space-time, perfects itself by graduation into the third density, the first density of consciousness of spirit. Upon the cessation of physical complex, the mind-body complex does not return unto the undifferentiated consciousness of that species. The second density represents our longest density in terms of the span of space-time. We may estimate that time as approximately 4.6 billion years. Let's define the term density as we have been using it. The term density is what we call a mathematical one. The closest analogy is that of music, whereby after 7 notes on our Western type of scale, the 8th note begins a new octave. Within our great octave of existence, there are 7 densities. The 8th density moves into a mystery we do not plumb. In its latter stages, 8th density functions also as the beginning density or first density of the next octave of densities. You may witness the gradually increasing and expanding awareness through the progression of the densities on our planet. The first density elemental lives of earth and water, the second density plants and animals, and our own self-conscious entities of the third density. Within each density, there are 7 subdensities. Within each subdensity are 7 sub-subdensities. Within each sub-subdensity, 7 sub-sub-subdensities, and so on infinitely. There is the infinity of opportunity. You may consider any possibility, probability complex as having an existence.